Okay, welcome to the podcast for proving parallel lines. Let's go ahead and get started. Most of this is going to come from the textbook. The textbook from page 159 or thereabouts. Let's look at number 20. It says, state the theorem or postulate that is related to the measures of the angles. Well, let's in each pair and then find the angle measures. So let's look at angle 1 and angle 2. There's angle 1 and then angle 2. So if this was the transversal, then that would make these the parallel lines. And indeed, I think by now you should know that the arrows here represent that they are parallel lines. So that would put this the interior, which would make 1 and 2 the exterior, and they are on alternate sides of the transversal. So these would be alternate exterior angles. What the theorem would then say is that if the lines are parallel, then the alternate exterior angles are congruent. So that would make angle 1 congruent to angle 2, which would make the measure of angle 1 equal to the measure of angle 2, which would make 7x plus 15 equal to 10x minus 9. So that is how state the theorem or the postulate that is related to the measures. The theorem, if the line is parallel, then alternate exterior angles are congruent. So that would be the alternate exterior angles theorem. The only the only postulate is the corresponding angles postulate. All the others, alternate interior, alternate exterior, same side, interior, those are all theorems. Then find the angle measures. So you would take this and solve for x. So 3x is equal to, what is that, 24, and then solve for x, and then find the angle measures. You're going to take that x and plug it in right there, and take the x and plug it in right there, and obviously you should get the same answer because 1 was supposed to be equal to 2 to begin with. So that is what I'm looking for. I am looking for this answer right here, and then I am looking for the measure of angle 1 equals, once you find x, you plug it in there. Once you find x, you plug it in there, so you will have the measure of angle 1 is equal to blank, and the measure of angle 2 is equal to blank. Alright, moving on. Now we're going to use the theorems and the given information to show that R is parallel to S. Well, the question is, are they parallel right now? And the answer is no. There are no arrows denoting them parallel. So therefore, we have to kind of come in through the back door. Well, is it enough to say that angle 3, if 3 and 7 are congruent, would that put the lines parallel? Well, they seem to be alternate interior angles, right? So the alternate interior angles theorem would say that if R is parallel to S, then angle 3 is congruent to angle 7. But this is telling you that 3 is congruent to 7, which would mean that if angle 3 is congruent to angle 7, then that gives us the right to say that R is parallel to S. Then R is parallel to S. Why? Because of the converse of the alternate interior angles theorem. So you would say that R is indeed parallel to S because of the converse of the alternate interior angles theorem. That's how that works. Alright. So this would be your answer right there. Check. Next, angle 8 and angle 7. Well, it seems as though in this instance that 8 and 7 are not alternate interiors anymore. They are same side interiors. And the theorem would say that if they are same side interior, they would have to add up to be 180 degrees. So, how do we do that? Well, if they give you 8 and they give you 7, but this time they also tell you that x is equal to 6. So what are you going to have to do? That's right, you're going to have to make it smell good. You got to take that, plug it in. Why make it smell good? Plug it in, plug it in. Okay. So since all of that is true, then you'll find the measure of angle 8, and that's going to be equal a number. Then you're going to find measure of angle 7, and that's going to be equal a number. Then you have to decide, do those add up to be 180? If they do, then yay! Then R would be parallel to S, but R would be parallel to S because of the converse of whatever theorem you use to say that this were true. So the converse of, okay, I led you to the water, so you can drink. Now, I know this problem wasn't assigned to you, but I would like to go through it, how can I say that? Help you out a little bit. Alright, so here we go. So, complete the following two-column proof. Given AB is parallel to CD, 1 congruent to 2, 3 congruent to 4. So 1 is congruent to 2, and 3, double tick marks, is congruent to 4. Prove that BC, this line right here, is parallel to DE. And the other given that they gave you was that these are parallel. Alright, well, might be a little strange in here. So all the red is the given, so let's write in blue now. Blue says, prove that BC is parallel to DE. Uh-oh, I drew that in the wrong color. Let's try this. How about AB is parallel to CD, and this is what you're trying to prove in the green. That's the goal. That's the goal. The green's the goal, baby. Okay. Well, it seems like if I could just draw the green lines here, and draw this line that goes through them, which would be ACE, it seems like if we could get somehow these angles congruent right here, then we could say lines are parallel, because they are what? Corresponding angles, so the converse of the corresponding. Okay, so let's see how it goes. Alright, so if AB is parallel to CD, check, then that must mean that 1 is congruent to 3. Was 1 congruent to 3 up in the given? No. So why in the world is angle 1, let me redraw it down here, angle 1, how do I make angle 1? I made angle 1 with BA, and angle 3. How do I make angle 3? Well, I come over here and I draw DC, right? So here's angle 3. So if these are parallel, then why in the world does angle 1 have to be congruent to angle 3? Well, what kind of angles are they? They are, ding, 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 corresponding angles. So, corresponding angles. That's right. Okay? So, now because they're corresponding angles, now can I say that 1's congruent to 2 and 3's congruent to 4? What gives me the right to say that? Ooh, that's right. Up here. Look at there. That is given to you. So, ta-da-da-da, given. Now, what gives me the right if 1 is congruent to 3 and 1 is congruent to 2 and 3 is congruent to 4? What gives me the right to say that 2 is congruent to 4? Well, I think I just answered it, right? So 1's congruent to 3. There's 3 is mentioned but not needed. 1 is congruent to 2. So that would mean that 3 is congruent to 2, which would then mean that 3 is congruent to 2. So it looks like a whole bunch of substitution. Or if 1 is 3 and 1 is 2, therefore 3 is 4. You could also say if 1 is 3 and 3 is 4, therefore 1 is 4, or 2 is 4, da-da-da-da-da-da. You could say the formal is the transitive property of equality, of congruence, but if you got substitution, that's completely okay. Alright, so now we've got 2 congruent to 4, which is right here. There's angle 2. And here is angle 4. So, what kind of angles are 2 and 4? Well, aren't they also corresponding? Yeah. So prove, is that enough to prove that they are parallel? BC parallel to DE. Okay. BC parallel to DE. And why would those have to be parallel? Well, remember, if I have the corresponding angles congruent, that must mean that the lines are parallel, because of the converse of the statement. So that's going to be because of the converse of what? Corresponding angles. Ooh, it's a corresponding, so therefore it is postulate. And that's how you do number 22. I would highly suggest that you go back and take a picture of that, and that you kind of rework it and rework it and rework it and see if you could do it all on your own, even if I did not give you the statements and the reasons. If I just did this, how can I do that really quickly? Could you do the problem if I said, uh-oh, that's not going to give it to me, but I think you understand what's going on. If I just gave you this piece of, you know what, I can do this. Here we go. For a quiz tomorrow, if you've listened this long, surely you can listen another second. I am just going to give you the given and the prove. And advanced honors, you're going to have to fill it all in for yourself. That is a question, is if you watch the podcast or not. You're going to have to fill it all in. Honors, I'll give you exactly what's given in the book. So, there you go.